She wasn't free before. She had a lot of contracts, and she had, you know, my mom and like everybody just trying to be like, you have to be like this served on a platter kind of thing.
So I've been seeing these strict rules videos all over social media lately, and one of the first things that popped into my head when I heard that was Disney stars. Like, I think we can all agree that maybe other than like the royal family, Disney stars are known for having insanely strict rules placed on them while they are working with the brand. And that's what causes the typical cycle of Disney stars growing up and then going crazy in order to break their family-friendly image. Well, that's why today on IO, I'm going to be listing the top 10 strict rules that Disney stars are forced to follow. I'm Mackenzie Smith, your host today on IO, and subscribe to the channel below if you want to see more of these types of videos. Alright, so let's just get right into it. Starting off with number 10, forced to wear purity ring. So when I read about this one, I just about lost it. So you know the purity rings the Jonas Brothers wore for the younger years of their career? And you should, because they were talked about so much in the media. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a religious symbol that you wear on your wedding ring finger that signifies that you're going to save yourself for marriage. Well, it turns out that Disney actually forced the Jonas Brothers to wear the rings. And if your jaw is dropping, yes, that's the appropriate reaction, because I was so shook about it. So Joe actually came out and said that he lost his virginity at 20 years old, and that the pressure from Disney to wear the purity rings was why they wore them, not because of their own personal values. Nick Jonas has even come out to say he never had a full understanding on why he had to wear the ring, but did because it was required. Next in at number 9, social media posts require permission. So this one just seems like a no-brainer to me based on how crazy the last one was, but yes, Disney does require all its stars to gain approval for social media posts to do with anything related to the Disney projects that they star in. So this all started with Shrek 2, where Cameron Diaz and Mike Myers were banned from revealing details about the animated fairy tale on their social media accounts. But where this gets a bit creepy is that there's an unwritten rule that social media posts that are not strictly in the realm of family-friendly content must be approved by Disney. But Disney would of course prefer if you never even thought of posting something like that in general. Next to number 8, told what to wear. So this one isn't all that bad until you learn the creepy details. So it is expected that Disney would control what their stars wear on set and out at events. But what you might not have expected was that they would control what the stars wore in their everyday lives. And whoa, this would just drive me so insane. Like, can you imagine just going to like the grocery store or something and having to get your outfit approved? Or look through a stack of clothes that you would literally never wear because they're considered brand safe? Well, Miley Cyrus spoke about this experience, saying she loved growing up in her sparkly Hannah Montana clothes, but she was resentful of it when she was trying to start her own career, as she was forced to live very much like her on-screen counterpart, touring in her sparkly clothes and blonde wig as Hannah Montana, but then also performing as her own carefree, brown-haired self, which made it really hard for her to grow into her own identity independent of Hannah. Next to number 7, forced to make music. So if you haven't already noticed, literally all Disney stars make music at some point in their careers. But what you didn't know is that the reason for this is that they're actually heavily pressured into making music. Disney strongly, emphasis on strongly, encourages their acting talent to pursue a musical career as well, along with their family-friendly acting gigs. And even though most of them are great singers that go on to have successful singing careers, the image that they create along with the types of songs that they do with Disney can hurt their long-term image and force them to be crazy sexual in order to break the mold. Take for example, someone like Miley. She had to release bangers with insanely sexual tracks on it and cut all her hair off for people to not see her as Hannah anymore. Next at number 6, told how to speak. So a few Disney stars have actually spoken out about this one. Even Bella Thorne talked about this in a Vogue video that she did back in 2018. But she also spoke about it in a ton of other interviews. More depth about all the things she had to do while playing Cece on Disney's Shake It Up. Thorne said she was given very strict instructions on how to appeal to Disney's young fans. One of these orders was to hide her husky voice with a higher pitched tone during interviews. This was intended to give off more of a good girl vibe, which is just so crazy and weird. But she is now speaking in her own true voice, and she doesn't care about the fans that she might have lost in the transition, as she knows the fans that stayed are the real deal. Halfway through at number 5, they aren't allowed to write risque lyrics. Another one along the lines of music, the stars are not only pushed into singing, but when they do get into the record business, they are under no circumstances allowed to write any risque lyrics. One group that's been vocal about this has been the Jonas Brothers. According to Joe Jonas, the boys thought the focus on their celibacy was rather awkward and weird, especially when the studio would swoop in and force them to change even the slightest inappropriate lyrics. Joe claimed that even mentioning being alone in a room with another human being was too hot for Disney to handle. Thankfully, the brothers eventually decided to fight back, and they're now writing whatever lyrics they want. Next, number 4, they had to pay for damaged goods. So this is just an insane one from back in the day that I wanted to include, but thankfully this one doesn't really apply much anymore. So back in the days of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, all the performers were just children. So they would of course mess around and be kid-like on set. Like, you can't expect children to be professional on set, right? So anyways, Disney thought that through their shenanigans they were taking too much of a hit on the cost to replace broken mouse ears. So one of their insane rules was that the stars had to pay for new mouse ears if they broke them, with the money coming out of their paychecks, $50 to be exact, which would be close to $500 in today's standards. So that's a lot of dough for a young kid to lose. Next, number 3, forced to take classes on scandal. So this one's again a bit of a no-brainer when it comes to the current social media climate of canceling online. And as we know, when Disney stars, or any stars in general, aren't guided, they can make some career-ruining mistakes. Many may wonder how they manage to keep their inner wild child at bay while employed with the studio. Well, the answer is that they are well trained on the matter. So that's why Disney makes it a point to teach the kids how to avoid scandal. But they take it even further, with guidance on how to use social media and even how to maintain a healthy diet. Next, number 2, play dumb in interviews to dodge questions. I'm so happy I'm able to bring this one to light for you guys because there are so many instances where Disney stars were doing interviews and they seem really dumb in them. So I'm here to tell you that they're actually not just dumb, but they are told to play dumb in interviews when they're asked tough questions that might not be considered brand safe. So if a star is being pestered about their dating lives or scandalous pics that appeared online, they change the subject and skirt around the questions, acting like dummies. One example that Joe Jonas gave was to simply pretend to remember a sweet story about his dog and spout some nonsensical off-topic anecdote about his pup. And he even said that certain brothers were allowed to speak on certain topics, with the older ones taking the more serious topics usually. And finally, taking the number 1 spot, Disney stars must date in the family. So this is another one that just blew my mind when I found out, and this is on the subject of dating. So of course Disney would prefer if its stars never dated at all, but of course it's inevitable that teenagers will want to start dating. But if the stars were able to date, they'd like to be able to capitalize off the relationship for press. So that's why Disney makes it a rule that stars are only allowed to date within the Disney family. This is better for Disney as they know the star that they're dating is also a well-groomed teen, and they can get press out of it and use it to promote their shows. And honestly, I don't know how I didn't catch this one sooner, with couples like Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake to Nick Jonas and Selena Gomez making it super obvious. Okay, so that's all for the strict rules. Let me know down below what rule shocked you the most. For me, it's a tie between them forcing the Jonas Brothers to wear purity rings and the fact that they had to play dumb in interviews. Like, what? Also, let me know if you liked the video topic, because I'm sure there are tons of other strict rules we can make videos about on the channel. Anyway, speaking of comments, I wanted to shout out a few. Aldo the Gnome said, knowing my luck, I download TikTok and everyone has already moved on to the next best thing. Honestly, a lot of TikTokers say that they only think that the platform is going to be around for like another year, so maybe by the time you guys don't download it, it'll just be over. Then Juan Pila's Piano said, I wouldn't download TikTok because it's called TikTok. I'm just so happy someone said this. I've been thinking this forever. Like, that's the stupidest name platform I've ever heard. Like, why? I think even Musical.ly was better than that. And lastly, Jalapeno Jose said, how in the hell are you gonna throw a whole couch? Like, actually, how though? Please tell us. I guess they had like 4 guys to throw it, so that's how, but still, that's kind of some low-key talent. So guys, thank you so much for the comments. Write one down below that you want me to see. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.